can put my glasses here. How's everyone doing today? Good, 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 good to see so many people in the audience. Thank you for coming today. Okay, this is my typical slide for anyone who has not come to one of these neighborhood watch meetings. Oh my God, look at all the new faces. This is fantastic. All right, so normally what we do, we like to start with an etiquette slide. It's just to kind of set the mood because as a facilitator or a presenter, it can get a little, nerve-wracking if it's already nervous to be up here, right? And then to have somebody's phone go off and it'll be like, oh my God, what was I talking about? So if I could just ask everybody, if you brought your cell phones today, put it on vibrate or mute so that if you need to still get a call, we don't have to hear it and you can excuse yourself if you need to take the call. We are going to have, and I'll go to the slide to show you, we're going to have 2 presenters here today. Exciting day. Can't wait to tell you about them. But we're going to also ask you to wait until the presentation is done and then ask your questions so that it could just be uniform because other people may have the same questions. And also, every one of us who's going to be up here speaking to you is going to have a mic. And when you ask a question, we're going to bring you a mic. The reason being, we record these meetings. So if you want to have a neighborhood watch meeting or you like what you heard and you want to share it with your neighbors, your friends, you can always go to YouTube, pull it up, and then you can see who was presenting, the questions that were asked, and the answers. So if we can all agree to that, that would be terrific. It would be helpful even for those who can't make it today. Okay, and then lastly, let's have fun because what's life about if you don't have fun? We have a question already? I'm going to. Yes. Give me a minute. See? We're having fun. Lovely. Okay. So, I am Maria DeMeo, and I'm part of the Neighborhood Watch team. I have my peers here with me. We have Alan and Larry over there. They're going to be doing the recording and helping with the slides if we get stuck. We have Sally, Carolyn, and Pat in the back. And if you have any questions about Neighborhood Watch or anything related to crime or anything like that, we're happy to help you. So come see us after the meeting. Our 2 special guests today, we have, where is she? Oh my God, here we go. We have, that's it, we make a good pair between the 2 of us. So we have Lynn Connor over here. She's going to talk to us about Neighborhood Watch. And then we have Chuck, yes, Vacation Watch, thank you. And then we have Chuck and Betty Mulcahy over here. And they're going to talk to us about snakes. And they actually have snakes today. And I have to say, the 3 in front here are very brave to sit so close. Oh, are you going to change your mind? Oh, that's okay. Don't worry, they won't hurt you. Okay. You didn't know we were going to do snakes today? This is going to be fun. All right, guys, I'm going to turn it over now. We're going to have Lynn talk about Neighborhood Watch. I'm sorry, Vacation Watch. So please welcome Lynn. You can probably hear me.
How's this? Is this better? Oh my goodness, what a nice turnout. Oh, it's so nice to see you folks. I walk around houses, so I don't get to talk to people too much because they're gone. They've signed up for Vacation Watch and they're gone. What is Vacation Watch? How many folks are fairly new, not even here a year? Oh, wow. You're just coming in now then? Okay. You do know that Vacation Watch is a county program. All of the law enforcement agencies and posses do Vacation Watch for the counter. And you know what? It's free. We watch your house for free. How great is that? The reasons why. For those of you that have Ring doorbells, cameras, I don't even look at them anymore. You don't even want to see me. But you think you're really well protected if you leave. There's other reasons that Ring doorbells don't pick up. Water leaks, neither does cameras. Sometimes storm damage. So it's important to sign up with us. A lot of people have people watching their homes, and that's a great idea as well, so long as they know to call the posse if there's anything unusual that happened with that house. And we do find unusual things. I'm not going to go into that because I only have about 2 more minutes. But what do we do on Vacation Watch? You sign up, giving us permission to walk on your property. We do not enter homes. We make sure that they are locked up, they are secure, and your property looks well enough. We pick up brochures, take newspapers off your driveway, anything we can. We try to make it look as clean and tidy as possible while you're gone. Okay. While walking around your house, the more information you give us, like if you have walls that we can't get around or something, even though somebody says we can't get to the back, most of us will try to peek back there anyway to see if anything's going on in your backyard, if there's water leaks or anything, even if we can't physically walk back there. The important thing, you let neighbors know that you're going away. Neighbors are our best source of information. I've been chased by neighbors. What are you doing walking around that house? And I've had to explain to them that you gave us permission to do that. Okay. So after that, I think the most common question is, what vehicles do you use when you walk around our houses? We use all of them. We have smart cars. I'm hoping to get another golf cart back. We have squad cars, and we have pickup trucks. Any one of those vehicles will be watching your house. Is that good? Yeah. We don't want the bad guys who are smarter than we are. We don't want them to know that we are in front of your house because it's empty. Does that make sense? Okay. Um, with that, I'm going to leave it to you because I have a short time up here. If you have any questions of what we do or what I have said, please ask them now.
And I have a mic, so I'll run over. Yep, I'll give you the mic.
Thank you. How often do you visit a property if they're listed on Vacation Watch?
If you list up on Vacation Watch, I'm going to be realistic with you, and I'm going to say this, and I'm not crying about this. You know, people aren't volunteering anymore as much as they used to. So we are short of personnel. Actually, I'm looking around at the world today, and people aren't even applying for pay jobs anymore. So, and that's kind of the truth. We will promise you within a week of you leaving, we make sure that everything is so locked up tight and cleaned up the way we would like our own house to look. After that, it goes on a round-robin patrol. So many things can happen. I can give you a goal, but it's not cast in stone. We'd like to be walking around your house at least once every 3 weeks. Certain things happen. Sun City West, I don't know how long you've lived here, but when the monsoon storms come through, it's spotty. So some neighborhoods get damaged worse than others. And our patrol people contact us, and then we set up special patrols just in that area, because you need to be advised if you have to contact an insurance company, your roof blew off, something like that, which does happen. I don't know if you've seen roofs blown off, but we have a microburst situation as well here in the desert, and that has blown off roofs. So I can't give you a real answer, but I can be honest with you in saying that if we slip on our goal, I want you to know every day a patrol car passes by your house on all 3 of our shifts. And what I want to ask you is, where have you ever lived that had that protection? Okay, we can't prevent things from happening. I'm going to be honest with you. But we can deter. Okay. Thank you for asking. Yes, sir.
Wait.
How does the crime rate change in the summer? Are there more break-ins during the vacation season than the rest of the year?
I've been doing this for like right around 15 years, and to be honest with you, you know more about the crime rate than we do half the time. We read about it. When a house is invaded, we're under the county. The sheriff's office comes. We're not part of that. They do all of their research and everything that has to happen. They don't come and tell us, you had a house in your area. We read it about in the paper, same as you do. But it's very, very, very low. And all the years that I've been doing this, maybe I've been to 4 houses that I found first, that I was the first responder after an invasion, let's say. Okay? Is it scary? Yeah, we run. There's nothing we can do. We don't have any more authority than any of you do sitting in this room. So we call the authorities. We work with them. We're not part of what they do. Sometimes groups of bad guys have hit Sun City West. They think that because we're old, they can get away with this stuff. They are wrong. They cannot. And why? Because we have great neighbors. We do a great job in the Posse in patrolling the streets. And we want you to be a part of that and this neighborhood watch party program along with Vacation Watch. It keeps us safe. That's what we want. And don't fool with us old people. Anybody else? Thank you so much. Did you have something?
Oh, wait.
Here comes.
Wait.
Boy, you're getting your exercise today.
I have a neighborhood group. We meet once a month. We normally have anywhere 25 to 30 people show up. Pretty consistent during the winter months. We go dry in the summer. Would somebody be willing to come out and talk to those people at a meeting between 5 and 7 in an evening or not?
Sure, I would be willing.
There you go. She's personally going to come. Oh, another question. Great. I'm right in the neighborhood.
No, I just wondered how many homes go on Vacation Watch.
Since COVID, we've kind of slipped right around the 2,500. Prior to COVID, we were right around 3,500. So lots of things have changed along with circumstances.
Was this gentleman here in the green shirt, was he talking about neighborhood watch or vacation watch? Which?
About a month ago, we had people from the fire commission come out, and they actually brought a fire truck out.
Sure.
And our neighbors just went ballistic. They thought that was the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And I'm the big mouth that organized it, so I thought, well, I would come and see if I could get Lynn or somebody else to come out and give her, give her a free meal and she'll be there.
Tonight? No, just kidding. That's great. Folks, thank you so very much. You're going to have a wonderful time with our next person up here.
Thank you, Lynn. Any last questions for Lynn?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Here we go. The next special guest is, like I said, Chuck and Betty Mulcahy, and they're going to talk to us about snakes. Come on up, guys.
We're going to try to do this without a microphone. Can everybody hear us all the way back?
But Chuck, we need the microphone because it's being recorded, so they won't be able to hear it otherwise.
2 hands to hold some of the surprises we're going to have.
I can help if you want help.
Okay. We'd like to start the program by having everybody close your eyes. Generally, we give this program to grade schoolers, and most of them don't want to close their eyes because they think we're going to pull out a snake right away. But we're not. So close your eyes And imagine that you're lying on the ground and you have no arms and you have no legs, and the only way that you can move is by using the muscles in your belly. Keep your eyes closed, and now imagine that you can open your mouth wide enough to swallow a whole watermelon. Okay, open your eyes, and now imagine that you can never ever close your eyes again. And now you know what it's like to be a snake.
Yeah, it's not easy being a snake, but we'll give you some ideas what it is like to be a snake. As Maria said, we are Chuck and Betty Mulcahy. We are volunteers today on behalf of Arizona Game and Fish. We also volunteer with the Maricopa County Parks and frequently seen out at the White Tanks Park. In the past, we volunteered at the Denver Zoo for about 15 years. We were zookeeper assistants. We took care of some of the cleaning and feeding of some of the specimens that we had on board, especially for anything from snakes, turtles, fish, even some of the primates. So we've been volunteering a long time. We've done this program you're about to see from everywhere from preschool to grad school. And we enjoy spreading the word about the importance of snakes and why they're important to us. So we're going to have Betty explain a little bit further before we do anything else.
How many of you have ever seen a snake in the wild? At home, in the golf course, on a hike? Yeah, okay. Sue, what was that snake doing?
It was actually going across the bike path.
Just slithering around?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have a story about seeing a snake? And babies warming up in the sun? Sunbathing. Okay, yeah. Okay. That's called thermoregulation. So when we're out in the sun, what?
We were walking in a cemetery in Montana, and I think the snakes were making love or something because there was two of them, and they were going around and around like this. It was interesting.
Okay. So, okay, well, most of the time when you see a snake, they're just either slithering across the trail or just laying out there in the sun. That's about all they do. We've never. You have somebody else with a comment?
I had a snake on my front porch in 2006, about 3 feet long, all coiled up on my doormat. And it was after dark, and I was going up to the door with my keys ready, and I heard a hissing. And I thought, I don't smell any gas or anything. So my friend said, step back, it could be a snake. So I stepped back, and I heard the rattle.
Good. Okay.
So he said, go in the garage and get a broom. I said, I'll get a broom and you can ride home on it. So I called the Posse and they called the fire department. But I put on that blinking front porch light that we have here, and the snake went away before they got there.
Well, that's good. I think you did all the right things too. That's good. They're not sitting there waiting for you to come home. You're too big to eat, so they don't want to attack you or anything. Well, what good do snakes do? Why do we have snakes in this world? Does anybody? Yeah. Keep the rodent population down. That's a big one. You bet. Anybody else have a comment about what snakes can do or do for us? What about medicine? Medicine's made from some of the venom to help cancer patients, diabetics, other options. So there's reasons for snakes to be in the world, and we do need them along with a lot of other animals.
But even though snakes do a lot of good, they do instill a lot of fear in people. And somebody say, "Oh, I'm scared of that snake." We like to say maybe uncomfortable around the snake. And before I go any further, I'm one of your neighbors. Betty and I live here in Sun City West. We have for the last 7 years, and we are constantly on the lookout for snakes. And we never see any. Frustrates me because I'm the one looking. If you want to see a snake, don't hike with me. But so a lot of the people feel that, oh, the snake's going to bite me. and it's a good thought. But there's only two reasons why a snake will bite someone or something. Anybody have an example of why a snake would bite somebody? Yes. He's afraid of you. No arms, no hands, can't punch you in the nose. He's got a mouthful of maybe 150 teeth. So they're going to bite, say, get out of my face. Sometimes it's just a warning. That's one reason, to protect itself. Why else would a snake bite someone or something? Something we do frequently during the day. Eat, somebody said. Yes, that's right. So when we're doing our fourth grade presentations, you all are fourth graders now, whether you like it or not, we tell the students, if I put a big pizza in front of your desk, size of a manhole cover, and you put your hands behind your back, how are you going to eat that pizza? There's always some smart aleck in the class going to plunge right down head first into it, and that's exactly how a snake makes a living. They've got a mouth full of 140 teeth or so, some more, some less. So they're not waiting to bite us. We're out hiking in our desert, and we're fortunate to have such an abundance of reptiles here in Arizona. But if you step on a snake, it's going to take it personally. So you always have to watch where you put your feet, put your hands. If you hear a snake, put the brakes on. Don't run in one direction because you could be stepping on a snake, and we know what happens then. Kind of look around, see where it is, then go in the opposite direction. Now, Betty's going to show you a snake here in a minute that we do have here in Arizona.
This is a rosy boa. There's only two boas in the United States. And is that United States or North America? North America. United States. Okay, sorry, I get that right. This is a rosy boa. We have them here in Arizona, southwestern Arizona mostly. And there's also the rubber boa. Have them up in Wyoming, Montana, farther north than where this guy comes from. You can see he kind of looks the color of the desert. He blends in really well. You probably wouldn't see him out in the wild because he's nocturnal for one thing, and for another, he's very camouflaged. This is a mature snake. He's about 6 or 7 years old. All right, okay. And you can see, obviously, he has no arms, no legs, like we were talking about before. He can't put his hands behind his ears because, first of all, he has no ears. Second, obviously, he has no arms. He can't blink his eyes. Snakes don't blink their eyes. They have no eyelids. So they're staring at you all the time, and a lot of people don't like that because it's kind of scary. If I just came up to you and stared at you like that, that'd be kind of weird, wouldn't it? Yeah. He thinks I'm weird anyway. Okay. So that's one reason people are afraid of snakes too, is because they're so different from what we are, and most of us don't like things that are different. Is there anybody here who's never touched a snake who would like to touch a snake? Sue, you're the only person here I know the name of. You want to come up and touch what?
This lady has a question.
Well, we're going to save questions till the end. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Sue's going to show everybody how to touch a snake because after the program, if you want to touch a snake, you're more than welcome to. We tell the kids you take two fingers, stay away from their head, and you touch them in the direction that the scales go, and touch them very gently because snakes really don't like to be touched a whole lot. He's staring at me. You want to hold this while I... Okay, just hold it. Okay, so Sue's going to touch the snake. She's going to stay away from the head and use two fingers and see what he feels like. How's he feel?
He feels soft, and I expected slimy, but he didn't feel slimy, just soft.
Stick around for just a minute, Sue. Put your hands out. Put your hands out. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to give Sue the back end of the snake, and I'm going to hold on to the head. Now, Sue has the dangerous part of the snake because this snake very rarely bites, but he could poop on her. Okay.
So, being that this is an Arizona native, nocturnal snake, likes to eat lizards, things at night. A sleeping lizard is one of his favorite food items. But if you did see something like this in the wild, what are you going to do? What would you do if you saw a snake out there on a trail, on a hiking trail, in your garage, in your living room? On the trail, she said she'd leave it alone. That's the best insurance policy you can get. Leave the snake alone. As I said earlier, if you hear one moving around or rattling or hissing, find out where that guy is. Now, this snake's been in captivity its whole life. I've had him since he was born. This species gives live birth. It's not an egg layer. But I wouldn't do this with a snake that I picked up out at White Tank, for instance. When we're out in the desert studying some of the snakes, keeping in mind that people who get bitten by snakes are usually trying to hurt or kill the snake or harm it otherwise. When we're out there studying snakes, we pick them up with a certain tool. We're out of the strike range. The snake doesn't get hurt. We don't get hurt. Everybody's happy. So, as Betty said, we'll have questions afterwards because generally we do spawn some questions during our procedures here in our presentation. But let's see what else we want to talk about. This snake will eat a piece of food as big around as the biggest portion of its body. I feed him about every 2 weeks, usually a medium-sized frozen mouse that I've thawed up to room temperature. And that's all he needs. Being cold-blooded animals, they do not need a lot of nutrition. In the morning, the snake comes out of its burrow. It's kind of chilly this morning. It's a little cool. Going to lay in the sun. Going to find a nice sunny spot to lay. Getting warm, getting warmer, getting hot. What's that snake going to do next if he doesn't want to be a baked snake? He's going to have to get out of that sun, get back into where it's cool, maybe go into a burrow just under a creosote bush, but all day long that snake is going from where it's warm to where it's cool. We're warm-blooded animals, so if we're out playing pickleball or golfing, gets hot, we start to sweat, that cools us off. If it gets cold, we'll shiver, and it makes it a little difficult to have a lifestyle like a snake. But they're very primitive animals. Now, I think Betty has another snake in the on-deck circle.
This is a western hognose, and he's a little hard to see because he is kind of small. Of course, when we first got this snake, he was about the size of a worm, and I could close him up in my hand, my fist, and the kids couldn't even see him. But that doesn't work anymore. Anyway, if you take a finger and put it on the end of your nose and stick your nose up in the air, you'll all look like this snake, because that's how he got his name, hognose. His little nose goes up in the air like a hog or a pig. I know nobody, you can see him after the program if you'd like. And he uses that nose like you use a shovel. He goes and digs for a place to live or something to eat, and that's one of his tools. And we said that I think we said that there's animals out there that will eat snakes. They actually serve as food for other animals besides eating the animals that bother us. What do you think his favorite food is? Anybody know what his favorite food is? Actually, his very favorite food is a toad, and we do have toads in our neighborhood. Toads have a way of protecting themselves. They will blow up like a balloon, get really big, so that it's be too big for him to get his mouth around. But this snake has a tooth on either side of his head, one tooth on either side, that he can use to pop the toad like you pop a balloon, and then he can get his mouth around it. But like we said, there's animals that want to eat him too. And the first thing he would do to protect himself, like most snakes, is to try to get away. If he can't get away, the next thing he's going to do is to act like a rattlesnake. And he kind of looks like a rattlesnake. He's really coiled up. He kind of looks like a rattlesnake. You want to hold him? And he'll wiggle his tail like a rattlesnake, and if it's in dry brush, it'll sound like a rattle from a rattlesnake. If that doesn't scare the predator away, he's got one more thing that he does. Most snakes don't do this, but he does, and that is to pretend like he's dying. And about this time, when they're doing grade school programs, we ask to have 4 kids come up here and make fools of themselves, showing everybody how a hognose snake goes about pretending to die. But we won't do that. I'll just tell you how he does. The first thing they do is to wiggle and squirm, and they're wiggling all over the place. And then their mouth hangs open, and their tongue hangs out, and they start bleeding from the mouth. And about that time, the kids say we can't do that. And then we tell them they're not going to want to do the next thing either, because after that they start pooping from the other end. But they can do the last thing, and that is to fall on the ground upside down on their back. And you can see that he is black on his belly. And he kind of looks like rotting meat when he's laying there. His mouth is open, his tongue's hanging out, and he's bleeding and pooping and just looking like he's oozing everything. And he looks like rotting meat. Well, a lot of animals don't like to eat dead animals, and they don't like to eat rotting animals. So that's a good way to protect himself. And we did see a snake do that in the wilds of eastern Colorado one time. And we reached down and picked him up and turned him right side up. And he flipped over on his back just to show us that he was really dead. But he wasn't. Okay. So, but Chuck's going to show you how different snakes eat.
Yeah, years ago when we were volunteering at the Denver Zoo, as I said earlier, we were in charge of taking care of some of the reptiles. And we're going to show you a 9-minute video of us feeding 4 different snakes. It's always interesting to see how snakes eat because they don't eat like us. They don't eat the same foods. So if we can start the presentation and get out of everybody's way. Here we go. Number 1 on the hit parade. The first snake we're going to feed will be a snake from Australia called a carpet python. And that's going to be right there. And the snake was about 8 feet long and spends a lot of time in the canopies of the rainforest in northern Australia. Eats a lot of birds, lizards, animals like that. They're pretty much arboreal, live in the trees. So I'm going to be putting a freshly killed rat in front of the snake. Watch how quickly that snake grabs that rat. Here it comes. Pay attention. Boom. And coils around it. Even though the snake is dead, the snake is going to make it, even though the rat is dead, the snake is going to make sure it's safe to approach. So in the wild, the snake will suffocate that animal, and it takes only about a minute or so before that animal dies because of suffocation. And then, keeping in mind this snake is 8 feet long, he's making the food go upstream. His head is down, but every time he opens and closes his mouth, that rat gets closer and closer to the throat muscles, then from there into the stomach. Now, we would feed this snake about every 2 weeks, 1 or 2 rats about that size. And once again, being cold-blooded certainly is an advantage for not needing to eat every day. The rosy boa that Betty showed you earlier, the first snake we saw, went almost a year without eating. throat muscles are grabbing onto that rat. You'll see the tail slide down the mouth just like the last piece of spaghetti. There it goes. He flicks his tongue out. He says he's ready for another one, but for this purpose, we're going to move on to another snake, which is a native of the Amazon rainforest, the green anaconda, and she eats large dead rabbits. We never say bunnies to the school group. We say rabbits, and we feed this snake about once a month. But this rabbit was 8 pounds. So we're going to give her, and it wasn't her name was Livia, named after the mother-in-law of the main keeper there. And this is rabbit number 2. And this is all Livia is going to get for a month. She was 17 feet long, weighed 200 pounds. So feeding the anaconda was always a 2-keeper operation. One guy on the tongs feeding the snake, but if the snake got kind of cranky, it could grab one of us, pull us into the water, and we would be at a severe disadvantage. Our next snake has the reputation and the fact of having the longest fangs of any venomous snake in the world. It's a gaboon viper from Central Africa. See, his head's very well camouflaged there. Looks like a leaf. But we're going to bring in a rat from the right side of the frame there, right side of the screen. Watch how quickly that docile-looking snake springs into action. Here it comes. And this snake has a unique way of feeding that it's a heavy-bodied snake, not a very big snake. A big one is 5 feet long, but it's kind of chunky. If he were to bite the food and let it go, some other predator could eat his lunch. So he's going to keep it in his jaws while the venom is killing the prey. And if you look carefully where the fang goes into the body, you'll see the venom pooling. And it's going into the system of that rat. And besides killing the prey, it's also beginning the digestive process, not much unlike what would happen with a rattlesnake bite here in Arizona. He's going to use those fangs, 2-inch fangs, to open and close his mouth and walk that rat back into his throat muscles, and from there squeeze the food into the stomach for digestion, which could take a week or so. Now, this snake bites a number of people every year in Africa, in the rainforest. You can see the camouflage. You got filtered sunlight coming through the canopy of all sorts of trees. You can't see him. You don't know he's there until you step on him. And as I said before, you step on a snake, they take it personally. So he's going to use that to manipulate that good-sized rat, probably a 250, 300-gram rat, down to his stomach, then crawl over underneath a nice sunny spot to digest. Once again, being cold-blooded, they need the heat to digest the food. Those appendages or bumps on the front help to break up the pattern, so it's harder for a predator or prey species to see it there. They linger too close, and it could be a bird, could be another snake, could be a small mammal. It's all on the menu for the gaboon viper. You can see the expansion of the throat and the scales as that rat goes down toward the stomach. It's not an easy process. It could take 15 minutes or so, maybe even more, depending on the size of the meal. But the toxicity of the venom is not as bad as what our rattlesnakes have, but it injects a whole lot more in volume. So no matter what happens, it could still spoil your day. Tongue comes out, ready for another one. We're going to move on to our final snake, which is a snake we have in northeastern Arizona. Not necessarily here. Arizona has 12 or 13 species of rattlesnakes, about 5 or 6 in the valley area here. This is a prairie rattlesnake, which is common through the Midwest, from Oklahoma up to Alberta, west into Colorado and Utah. And there are subspecies here in Arizona called the Hopi rattlesnake, pretty much the same guy. We're going to wiggle that dead mouse in front of the snake. The snake sees it, smells it with its tongue, strikes it. And in the wild, this snake or this mouse would run away. And the rattlesnake knows that. He also has learned that the rodent could bite the snake. which could be an unpleasant end for the snake as well. So he's going to wait till he's sure that the mouse is dead before he approaches it. And he will follow the trail of scent where the mouse has run. This could be in pitch dark too, because the rattlesnakes, especially here in Arizona during the summer, they go nocturnal because of the heat. He sees it, tongue flicks it, smells it, and very gently, you notice how fast he struck that mouse. Rattlesnakes have the fastest strike of any snake. He's going to try to find the head. And very slowly, very gently, he's going to open up his mouth, try to swallow that mouse head first. Makes it a lot easier to going down the throat. So he's satisfied that the mouse is dead. Now he's looking again for the head. Mouth is going to open very gently. And once again, without the help of arms or hands or knives or forks, going to use the rearward-facing teeth in his mouth to guide that deceased mouse in toward his stomach. And as he's doing that, his jaws are spreading apart in 4 different sections. They don't disarticulate, but there's ligaments in the jaw that stretch out, enabling that snake to eat something as big around as the biggest portion of its body. And you can kind of see the spread there as the mouse is going down, getting into the throat. See it's more spread out there. And once it gets to the throat muscles will do the rest of the work. But there's something coming up here once that mouse gets past the jaws, something the snake's going to have to do to realign the jaws and get ready for the next meal, whenever that's going to be. And it's going to look like he's yawning. He's going to open his mouth real wide. Taking a breather. At the bottom of his jaw, there's a tube there, looked like a straw, called a glottis, and that helps the snake to breathe when he's got a mouthful of mouse. Snakes have suffocated, have choked by taking too big of a piece of food, but generally they've got it figured out. Here comes the big yawn, popping the jaw back into shape. Big mouth for a little snake. The snake was about 3 feet long. A big one is about 4 feet long, so this guy was pretty fair size. He was 10 years old when I shot the video. Now bring the camera in close. Let's take a look at that tongue. All snakes have forked tongues, and they can pretty much smell in stereo. They can tell where the food is either off to the right or off to the left. Once again, that's a prairie rattlesnake at the Denver Zoo. And that's the end of the video. So I expect we'll have some questions, but I just want to say that Betty and I really enjoy volunteering with Arizona Game and Fish, and they're responsible for keeping wildlife healthy here in Arizona. And
we've got one more snake, and this is a California king snake. And he's a constrictor. He's holding on to me. I am not holding on to him. A constrictor is what we were talking about earlier. When they wrap around and grab something, they can squeeze it until it stops breathing. He's only grabbing me just enough to hold on. He knows I'm too big to eat, so he's not going to do anything. He's kind of like a teenager. They don't do anything they don't have to do. It's going to cause them any stress. So we've seen people put snakes around their necks. We don't recommend it. If you go to a program and somebody says, put this big python around your neck, that's not a good idea. First of all, the snake is afraid of falling. If they do fall, they could hurt themselves. And if he's around your neck and he's afraid of falling, he can tighten up and actually choke you. There have been people killed by their own pet snakes that they put around their neck, and the snake will tighten up to protect itself, basically. So it was a young boy, 17 years old, who got killed by his own rattlesnake. They called the fire department, and the fire department guys couldn't even get the snake off. He was so strong. So do you want to answer questions?
No, I'm going to walk around with a mic for people.
Yeah, why don't you? Yeah, Betty can play Let's Cheat Death again. Yeah, now is the time that we do have some questions. That I know we always get questions, and it's always. Yeah, Betty said this snake also eats other snakes, including rattlesnakes. It's a king snake, and they're very common here. And as the name would say, it's a common king snake. But we do have a question over here. Yes, go ahead.
So in the beginning, you said that, imagine eating a watermelon. Do they eat any kind of vegetables, or are they strictly meat? And then you said they were sticking out their tongue for their next meal. Will they continue to eat until they gouge themselves, or will there be a stopping point for them?
They will eat in the wild. We feed our snakes about every 10 days or 2 weeks. And there are times when they won't eat. And we had one snake that almost went a year. But in the wild, they may not eat. They may not have the availability of food that often. So they're going to eat kind of like a kid eats M&Ms. They're going to eat until they're full and crawl up under a nice warm spot and digest it. So did you have another question? Oh, the watermelon. Yes, all snakes. I hate to say always, hate to say never, but it's safe to assume that all snakes are carnivorous. They don't eat the watermelon Betty told you about, but it gives you a good idea. We all know what a watermelon looks like. I mean, we could have said a wombat, but we don't have any wombats in Arizona.
Just out of curiosity, what is the striking distance?
The striking distance is something very important to know, and that's why I have those red tongs. Striking distance is about 2/3 of the snake's length. So if you've got a 6-foot snake, you figure he can go about 4 feet. Rattlesnakes can strike vertically as well if you're right over it. The king cobra, when they strike, you see the guy playing the flute with the cobra. You notice, if you look carefully, the snakes always strike downward. So he stays up above. So the snake's not going to go vertical to bite him. Good question.
Do they ever eat large insects like beetles?
Do they ever eat beetles? Oh, yeah. Yeah, the younger snakes, they'll eat grasshoppers, beetles. There's a worm snake that's about the size of a spaghetti noodle on steroids, very, very small, that eats the ant eggs, goes underground. We used to get them at the Denver Zoo. We get some of our plants coming in for the rainforest exhibit from South America, and we'd be unpacking the vegetation. There'd be a snake in there, very, very small. Big one is 10 inches long, very thin, thinner than a pencil. And they do a lot of eating the white ant eggs. Yeah, they do. Yes. Yeah, we have it at home. The question was, do snakes drink? Absolutely. Very important here in Arizona. They get a lot of the moisture from the food they eat, which the food they eat is getting moisture from the vegetation they eat. Snakes are eating vegetarians, so they definitely have to drink.
Since we're in Arizona and we have a baseball team called the Diamondbacks, do we have Diamondbacks in Arizona?
Yes, indeed. We do have Diamondbacks here. We have a couple flavors of them. We've got the Western Diamondback, which is probably going to be the biggest rattlesnake we have here. Also, the Mojave is also a Diamondback. Those are the two main Diamondbacks. There's an Eastern Diamondback on the East Coast in Florida, where I grew up, that can get to be almost 7 feet long or so. They get to be a real handful. But we do have definitely Diamondbacks here in Arizona. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Mention how quickly a rattlesnake can strike, how fast one is. I once heard, you can confirm this, that most the statistics on snake bites, you understand most of snake bites occur from white men between 18 and 25 who've been drinking beer and think they can be faster than a snake. Is that true?
Unfortunately, it is true, and I mentioned that to Maria earlier. that usually somebody who gets bitten is between 17 and 35 years, so we're all immune from that. There's nobody in here who's in any danger, so don't be alarmed. But the last thing they say before they get bitten is, hold my beer and watch this. So sadly, it's very true.
Any other questions for Chuck? Oh, we have another one.
Chuck, reiterate why you feed them dead mice or rats.
Yeah, ideally, since we're in a captive environment, the snakes we have all been raised in captivity. We don't like to take snakes out of the wild because they got a job to do, and it usually doesn't end up well for the animal. We feed our snakes, and I have frozen mice in our freezer, so Betty's very tolerant. Let me keep mice in the freezer. And you have to feed them the dead food, because if it was alive, it could actually bite the snake, could even kill the snake. This has happened.
Okay, we're going to end this program with a poem, and this poem is called The Garter Snake. Who will fear the garter? There's no poison in her tongue. Who will fear the garter? Not the elders nor the young. Who will fear the garter? Those who fear her form. They do not question, is this snake the kind that can do us harm? They love to fear the garter. They will not think it through. And watch those who fear the garter and beware of what they do. Thank you all for coming today.
Thank you. Big round of applause. That was excellent presentation, guys. Thank you.
One more thing. We've got some little snake bracelets up here that kids, you want to hold that up so they can see? If you have any grandkids visiting right now, they can color the snake and cut it out and put the tail in a little slot under its throat and make a bracelet out of it. So feel free to take some of these.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right, now we're going to do a part for Neighborhood Watch, but before we finish here, I have to give these two in the front row a gift for sitting so close to the snakes, because all of you all here got scared. I would have given you one too, but you went back like 6 rows. Very good. The brave ones. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next section. But before I go to this one, I have another game I want to play. As you saw in the back, we have some gentlemen sitting back there. And these gentlemen are from, did anyone go and introduce themselves to the men in the back? Okay, so for those who didn't, they're from the fire department, and they're here to talk to you a little bit about the services that they provide, and they also have some tchotchkes. So one of the things that they do, and we talk about it even with Neighborhood Watch, is the lock boxes. So you know how we say there's those little boxes right by your front door and there's a key inside? They're the only people who can access the key in that box to get in your house. Even if you call us because you have a situation, we cannot, and we don't have access to that box. But if you're considering it, it's a great way to be able for people to get inside your house versus breaking a door, a window, whatever to get in. And so please talk to those gentlemen. Do you guys know what this is? You do? What did I hear? A vial of life? Is that it? Who knows what goes in it? Do you guys?
Your list of medications.
Your list of medications. So for those who don't know, hold on. You guys are good. Like that. You're participating. Look at this. You get candy for participating. Isn't that lovely? Here you go, one for you. You don't even have to share. Get your own. You can swap if you like. So yeah, you put your list of medications in it. There's a sticker in there. You can put it by your door, on your fridge door. And then whoever gets into your house, like the fire department, they know that there's a list of medications that is very important for your life, and they will have access to them. We heard someone provide a really great suggestion is to keep one of these in your car so that if something happens in your car, right, that they would know, yeah, this is a great idea, and then they would know. No, not a great idea. I'm giving misinformation. Let's see.
No, it's not bad information. It's just something. How would you like to see that on the 6 o'clock news? Me going through your console or your glove compartment over here. You wouldn't think much of me now, would you? So that's why we say not to. The other thing too is everybody says, "Well, it's on my telephone." Where's your purse? Where's your telephone? Okay. So it's good to keep them close by, but probably what's more important than anything as far as these advance directives here is if you need a bracelet of some nature, AFib, or things that, please wear them. Or if you have a medallion, please wear them. That's more important than this.
Thank you. So, where in the house this would go in your fridge, right? In your fridge, and if you take one of these, it has a nice instructions inside of it. Would you like one? Yes. There you go. You can have my sample. Perfect. Okay, I have one more. Did anyone pick one of these up? You did? Oh, okay. And if you didn't, who put your hand up? Who can tell me? No, you already played, so you can't play. Who can tell me what this is used for? Don't shout it out. You have to put your hand up. Well, we have a brave soul. What is this used for?
It's for pulling out the rack and pushing back the rack of a hot oven.
Did you hear that? This is not only a ruler, but you can pull out your hot things from the oven. Oh, look what you get. Look what you get. Sugar. There you go. There's chocolate in there. Yes. Wonderful. Okay. And then the last piece I have from them. Anyone know what this is? Can you see it? Wait. Got it. It's a little red. Okay, jar. I only have a certain amount of gifts. Your voice. Okay. It's a jar opener. But could you use it as a mouse pad? A mouse pad for your computer? I'm just saying. I'm marketing for you. Okay? Wonderful. Okay. We just wanted to have some fun. The last part of the presentation is we always like to just encourage people. If you're interested in joining a neighborhood watch, come talk to us about it. There might even be a neighborhood watch in your community already. And if so, we will tell you if one exists and you can just join theirs. But if you want to create your own, I've introduced our teammates at the beginning. Please come and see us. Our next meeting is on April 18th here at 10 a.m. And we're going to have a special guest talk to us about Sun City Museum. So if you've never been there, or even if you have, and you wanted to see what the latest is and what they're talking about, come see this. I went on the tour. It's fabulous. So if you haven't, you really need to. It's a great part of history. So please, after the meeting, if you want to talk to Lynn, she's still here for Vacation Watch if you have any questions. If you want to talk to the gentleman in the back from the fire department, have some questions, please do so too. And then us for Neighborhood Watch. I have a question. Wait.
Question, really. I just want everybody to know that the Posse works from donations from Sun City West or from anybody. So donations are always happily received.
Thank you for that little plug. She's absolutely right. We are not funded by any agency, any government entity. We are only funded by donations of people like you who want to see us keep our neighborhood safe and work with you to keep our neighborhood safe and lower crime. Hold on. I have another one.
I don't know if you were going to say it or not, but if you have any changes to your data, emergency contacts, anything like that, please pick up this yellow form that Sally's holding up in the back, fill it out, turn it in, and we really appreciate it because that's how we contact you at 11 o'clock at night when you're sound asleep and your garage door's open. Okay? Like I did last night, 2 doors down from my house.
But also, too, if things are going wrong with your house, let's say you're away and you got a water leak. You were talking about a water leak, right? I work in dispatch. I have to go look to see who's a key holder. and I would contact them for you to say, hey, you're listed as a key holder. Can you help out or whatever? So this is what we're about, right? It's neighbors helping neighbors, and we all do it differently. Some people do it as volunteer here. Some people do it in being in communities. Some people do it just being good neighbors to your neighbors. That's what we have to do, guys. We have to look out for each other. Sally might have a question.
I just want to remind you or say, if you are not sure that you have the correct emergency contact or key holder, on your way out, you can have the gals check the computer, or you can call us and we'll take the information over the phone. But it is imperative that we have that. It's really important, always. You have a question?
The key holder could be the same as the emergency contact.
Yes, the key holder can be the same as the emergency contact. Yes. Exactly. Yeah, it preferred to have them down here if there's an emergency.
Can the posse get the key from the fire department through the lockbox?
No, there's only one person that can get the key. The question is, the lockbox on your home, can the posse get the key? Nobody can get the key except for, I think it's the captain of the fire rig that arrives at the scene. Is that correct, guys?
So can you get it amounts to is every one of the first response vehicles. It's going to sound very silly when I say this, but they also have a lockbox in the vehicle, but it's a touch code box. They have to put their employee number in there, and it's recorded who opened the box and when. And now when they're done with it, probably the most important part, yes, we can get in without causing any damage or anything like this. But if you do get transported to the hospital, rest assured that your home has been locked up after they've left.
But so the answer is the posse cannot get the key. No one can get the key but that person. But even if we did get the key, or even if we could come, we cannot come into your house. The posse cannot come into your house. Okay?
Wait, another question.
And if you don't have one of those lock boxes on your house, you just call the fire department and they come out and hook it up. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Look at these. These guys are like, hey, come over here. Talk to me. I can help you out.
Just really, really quick, we've got samples of them in the back. It's a one-time $50 fee. We in charge of it. We install them free of charge. But please make sure that you have a working key. You go down to the hardware store and they make you a key. Sometimes they don't work. So give a try, because we will not install the lockbox without a key in it. We don't want to waste the time with the firefighters coming up, finding that there's a lockbox and they open it and there's no key. So
I know you'll do it, but if you buy a house from somebody and there's a lockbox, check that key that's in the house. Make sure that, or you change the locks because you bought a new house. Be sure that you change that key. Otherwise, it'll do no good.
exactly, that's a really, really good point. Most of the times, the real estate agents won't let us know, what the box is all about. So if you are a new owner of the house, please call us. It's free of charge. We'll come out and verify the key. Or if you get a new security door, or you need the box moved because of your ring alarm, any of that kind of stuff, it's all free of charge. We'll come out, and our wives really enjoy us being out on the street.
I have another question.
Hold on. Yep, 1 second.
Maria, this might be a kind of silly, but what kind of calls are you allowed to access the lockbox on? I just can somebody call from outside the home and say, my friend isn't answering the phone?
Okay, so the question is, for what situation or circumstance are you guys allowed to access the key to get in their house? What kind of calls?
Just a little bit of background in that to try to answer that. We're all dispatched out of Phoenix Central, downtown Phoenix, and the 911 operator will take your telephone call and they'll kind of decide what is needed. Do you need medical, fire, or police? Probably what would happen in a case like that, they would send all three, just because nobody knows what's going on. And in that case there, and of course the most important phone number that we have here is 911. That's it. There's no late hour phone call or whatever to the fire department. There's no such thing. So just call 911.
You had a question?
Yes. If there is already a neighborhood watch in our particular neighborhood, who's in charge of it?
That we would have to. Her question is there a neighborhood watch group in your particular neighborhood, and you're not sure who the say the captain is? If you contact one of us, we will check it out and see if there is one in your area, and then we would give you the name of the person to contact. Okay?
Great questions, everyone. Any other questions for us? Oh, another question.
We used to, a few years ago, want to put ICE in case of emergency numbers on our phones. Is that still a policy or a thing to do, and for emergency services to like contact next of kin or whatever?
So the question was, on your phone, in case of emergency, it's called ICE, and people would put that on their phone. If they have that on their phone, does anybody check? I mean, would you guys know if they check their phone to see if they have ICE and that they know to call somebody? Hold on.
The only thing I can say there is, where's the telephone? Okay. Yeah, no, but I'm not trying to be either. That's why the Vial of Life is a much better. This is a nationwide program. It's offered through Sun Health. We just kind of distribute them and get the information out. But it's a nationwide program. Paramedics and EMS people go through it, and they know to go to the refrigerator in the home. This way here, they're not rooting through the medicine cabinets. They're not looking for the purse or anything. They go to one spot, and that's it.
And to add to that, a lot of people have their phones locked, thumbprints needed, passwords needed. It becomes complicated today. It's just another thought, but I get what you're saying, right? Who do you call? So another plug for us, if you let us know who your emergency contact is and something happens to you in our community, we know who to contact for you if you give us that information.
So in my wallet, separate from my phone with my ID, is a, in case of emergency, piece of paper for someone to call. It's basically right next to my driver's license. So, because again, the phone is super hard to access anymore. It's no longer like the flip phone or anything. So that's just an easy way. And having a husband as a fireman, you always try and reinvent how does somebody find someone to help me? But that's what we do in our household.
That's a great suggestion.
And that's good to have in your car too.
Absolutely.
Any
other questions? All right. Well, you guys have a wonderful day. Help yourself to some more cookies. Go talk to the guys in the back.